So you're thinking about joining the Army now. Let's talk about how the Army enlistment process actually works. So now that you decided to join the Army, there's only 7 steps to actually enlist in the U.S. Army. Step 1 is actually just talking to an Army recruiter. Just because you sit down with an Army recruiter, or you see them on the streets, or you meet them at Starbucks, or wherever the case may be, doesn't mean that you actually have to join the Army. But that does start the process actually if you do choose to join the Army. Step 1, like I said, is just sitting down, talking, having a conversation with an Army recruiter. You're informing them what you're looking to achieve out of the Army. Maybe it's a job-wise, education-wise, money, whatever your reasonings is for wanting to join the Army, and seeing if those goals and what you're looking to achieve match with what the Army have to offer. Step 2 with joining the U.S. Army is smashing that like button. No, please like this video so I can make sure that the YouTube algorithm gets this information out there to the people that really need it, and make sure that I can provide that information for them as much as possible. But no, really, what the next step is? Step 2 is actually taking the Armed Service Vocational Aptitude Battery Test, also known as the ASVAB. It is required by all military branches to join the military. Regardless if you're joining the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, even the Coast Guard, you gotta take this test to join the military. So keep that in mind. It is a long test. It is 3 hours, so make sure you do a little bit of studying before you can maybe even interested in joining the Army. You can get some information online, just look it up. There are practice tests all over the web, and make sure that you study, because it is a semi-hard test. Some people do have difficulties with it, some people don't. Just keep that in mind. If this is something you're interested in, make sure you take that take some practice tests before you come in and take the real test, because the real test is 3 hours long. Step 3 is the application packet. This is one of the hardest steps that I think that most applicants have, especially the younger generation. More because in the application packet, it is just like you're applying for any type of job you've ever had. There are 3 main things that we need to know. We need to know everywhere you lived, worked, and gone to school. You also need to provide references for all of those locations and everything that you've done, and then no point can any name repeat during the process. Also, you need to understand that no family members can be involved in any type of the application process except for during the family part where it asks for like your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, and those types of things. Other than that, it has to be non-family related, and keep in mind that most of the time it does have to go all the way up until your 18th birthday or for the past 10 years. So depending on what age you are looking to join the Army, there is a lot of information that you need to provide for the application packet. But also the other things you also need to provide is your documentation. You need to provide like your social security, your birth certificate, your high school diploma. If you're not a graduate yet, you're still a senior in high school, obviously we understand that you do not have your high school diploma. There are some other things that you may or may not need depending on your situation with joining the Army. So again, that's another thing when you sit down with your Army recruiter, ask them what things you may need. They will also more than likely provide you with a list of information that you need to provide. Step 4. Step 4 is choosing your job. One of the great things about the Army is you have 100% control over choosing your job. It is the one reason why I chose the Army. I originally looked at all branches, but the Army gave me full control over my job and what I chose to do. Now, there are a few things to keep in mind when choosing your job. Just because you want to join the Army and there's this job you want, you may not necessarily qualify for it. So there's a few things you need to keep in mind. One is depending on what you got on your ASVAB and on your line scores will determine what jobs you qualify for. Sometimes people think if I got to get a certain score to get a job. That is not always necessarily the case. You need to get certain line scores to get certain jobs. So depending on what job you're looking for, let's just say job whatever needs a line score 1 of 33 and a line score 2 of 52. That'll, depending on how you did on your ASVAB, will determine what jobs you qualify for. If you have any questions about that, again, feel free to comment below. You can email me, or you can ask your local Army recruiter, and they'll be more than happy to help you out with that. Another thing to keep in mind when you're choosing your job is the job also has to be available. So just like I said before, just because you qualify for a job doesn't mean it's always available. The Army is constantly has this ups and downs of when jobs are available. So you may qualify for a job, but it may not be open. So you also have to keep in mind of what jobs we currently have open at that time. So just keep that in mind. Sit down with an Army recruiter. They can give you more information on how you can figure out what jobs you qualify for and what jobs are currently opening. Step 5, physical exam. So you decide to join the U.S. Army, thinking that this is the best option for me. They got me the job I want. I'm going to now join the U.S. Army. Well, one thing you got to understand is you're going to go to Military Interest Processing Station, also known as MEPS. MEPS itself is where they go and they evaluate you. You're going to do your physical. They're going to check you from head to toe. They're going to check everything about you. They're going to make sure that you're eligible to move, make sure that they're going to draw your blood, they're going to check your ears, they're going to check your eyes. They're basically going to do a full physical exam on you to make sure that you are completely eligible to join the U.S. Army. Now, they do understand the things that are going to happen, like people are going to have surgeries, people are going to have scars, people are going to have broken bones. It's what happens. It's life. One thing I would always tell you, if this is something that you have, always bring it up to your recruiter. When you're doing in step 1, when you're talking to them, tell them, hey man, I broke my bone, when I was 5, whatever. Tell them what's going on. Or I got this big cut from, I ran through some glass when I was younger. Or I had a surgery, I had my appendix removed, whatever the case may be. Always be forward and upfront with your recruiter, because then when you go to do your physical exam, they will check it. They will know. Like I said, they're going to be checking your eyes, your ears, your nose. They're going to draw your blood. You're going to take a drug test. Understand that to join the Army, you need to be drug-free. You cannot join the Army while hot. You would just be automatically disqualified, and you will literally have just wasted every step of your point to get to here. So keep that in mind. This is one thing I always tell people: talk to your Army recruiter, let them know what's going on, so they are fully aware as what they need to do to make sure that you are qualified to get in the Army. Step 6. Step 6 is actually doing your contract review. So one thing that you have to keep in mind is this: normally it typically happens on the same day that you do your physical, but not always. So keep that in mind, that you're going to do a contract review. What that states is everything that you've pretty much done from step 1 to step 5 is accurate. You're going to sit down with an Army recruiter or civilian, depending on where you're at. They're going to evaluate everything in your contract is correct. Is your name correct? Is your social correct? Is this the right information? Everything that you did in the application process and anything before and after, that everything in the Army is actually correct. So what they're going to do is sit down and evaluate. They're also going to make sure is your job correct? Is everything good? So what's going to happen is, so once you take the swearing ceremony, i.e. step 7, once that is done, then you will actually you will be able to sign your contract. You don't actually get to do your contract until you do the swearing ceremony. But they will still make sure everything about it is 100% accurate and ready to go. Step 7, swearing ceremony. So this is where you'll go into the room. You could be by yourself, more than likely with other people that are joining the military, and you will take the oath of enlistment. Where this happens, it's a very proud moment for you, because you are now actually joining the U.S. Army. You will take an oath of enlistment. You will make sure you understand that this is a prideful moment. Keep it very true to your heart, and this is the first time in your life that you will serve the United States Army. Some families will be in there. Some recruiters will be in there. Take pictures. It's a good, proud moment, because at this point, you join the U.S. Army. Once the swearing ceremony is actually completed, you will then sit back down with an Army career counselor or civilian, and that's where they reviewed your packet and make sure everything is good, and that is where you actually sign your contract and make sure that everything that you wanted and is good to go, and you're ready to serve your country. So with that being said, that is the 7-step process to actually enlist within the U.S. Army. There are a little bit more things that there will be added in there depending on your situation, depending on if you got a green card, or if you got U.S. citizenship, or if you don't have a high school diploma, you got a GED, or whatever the case may be. Like I said, those are the 7 basic main steps to actually joining the Army. Just make sure you do is when you actually talk to your Army recruiter, let them know what your situation is. Be upfront with them. They will work with you. They will get you in the Army if it's something that you truly want to do. Don't try to hide shit. Don't try to hide anything, because it will come out. So just keep that in mind. If you did find this video useful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure we give it a big thumbs up. I want to make sure that everybody is getting this information out there as much as possible. If you're interested, please share it. Let people know I'm here. I'm going to put my email down below. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. You don't know where your local Army recruiter is, or you're just needing some help or some advice, please feel free to email me. I will get back to you as soon as I can. Other than that, everybody else, have a great day.